I have a puzzle for you, a mystery. What does being one with everything have to do with Juneteenth and Pride Month? You're just going to have to wait to find out. This is part of a classic rabbinic teaching style. In a collection of midrash or stories based on stories, the rabbi would pose a question and then start telling a story, and you'd wonder, where is this going? And then they landed at the end, and it all comes together. After all, Juneteenth was observed this past Thursday, and Pride Month is all month. What do they have to do with being one with everything? Well, just you wait. Did you know that there is a Jewish blessing for the sun? It's called Birkat HaChamah, the blessing on the warm thing. It's only offered every 28 years. The claim is that every 28 years, the sun returns to the same position it was in the sky on the fourth day of creation when it was made in Genesis. There is no astronomical data that confirms that it appears at the same point in the sky every 28 years, but tradition. But that blessing on the sun is not offered every year when you might imagine it would be. At the summer solstice, usually June 21st or sometimes 22nd, the longest day of the solar calendar, the day of the sun, when the sun comes up its earliest and goes down its latest and gives us the most light it can give, at least in the northern hemisphere. The sun is important to Jewish time, not only to fill in the line in Fiddler on the Roof, sunrise, sunset. Time is defined by the sun, of course, in the counting of the year. But the Jewish calendar is not primarily a sun calendar. Remember, the days start at night. The major holidays occur on the 15th of the month, which is a full moon in the Jewish calendar. The Jewish calendar is actually technically called a luni-solar calendar, a moon-sun calendar, where it's based on moon months, or moons, if you want to think of it that way. And it adjusts to keep the holidays in season because Passover has to be in the spring, but the exact dates of the sun signs are not particularly important. The Talmud's rabbis knew about the concept of a solstice and an equinox. They refer to it in passing, but they did not choose to mark this time of the sun with formal or important observances. Maybe they didn't want to be like the other peoples in the Roman world that did mark the solstice and the equinox with important festivals, and Jews were saying, we're not that. It's like people who are not Christmas. They're differentiating themselves. Maybe it was because we emphasized the moon so much with the day beginning at night and the holidays that we didn't want to focus on the sun. Maybe it's just that different cultures mark things differently. Doesn't make it better or worse. After all, we know there are cultures out there that treated the sun very important. Tomorrow morning at sunrise, there will be thousands of people gathering together at Stonehenge. On the longest day of the year, June 21st, we are Erev solstice. We are the evening before the solstice. Tomorrow morning, they'll be there for the longest day of the year, to be there at dawn, to watch the sun's rays shine precisely through a space in the structure, the architecture of that site, and it will be in conjunction with the design of those large, massive stone slabs. It's often described as a magical moment to see the sun fit exactly where people built it thousands of years ago. There's actually no real magic about it, unless math is magic. There's a similar effect that was created in the 20th century in Melbourne, Australia, where they built a shrine of remembrance, remembering the casualties of the First World War. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of every year, a ray of light shines through a skylight at the top of the building, and it illuminates the word love on the floor. So if you're there in November, on the 11th day of November, make sure around 11 o'clock You go to that building and you'll see the design of the building work again and again. It takes math. It takes architecture. It takes a human understanding of how the world works. That's what it takes to make that kind of magic. And yet, the emotional power of that moment in Australia or tomorrow morning in Stonehenge, it's not only an appreciation of human intelligence and ingenuity. It's a feeling of being connected with the natural world, feeling like you're part of the cosmos itself. How many of you had a chance either time to see the eclipse when it came through North America? I found it to be an amazing, amazing experience to actually see the moon moving across the face of the sun, seeing the world get dark, hearing the bugs come out because they thought it was nighttime. It was astounding. That sun that we see so often, we often ignore or even complain about it. It's too hot, it's too bright. All of a sudden became a means to feel part of something much, much larger than ourselves. You are part of a cosmos with bodies orbiting in space. It was so big that it felt like we were one with everything. Call it new agey, call it spiritual or crunchy or touchy-feely. That emotion of feeling connected to the universe is real, even if a physical mechanism isn't necessarily demonstrable. All life forms share the element carbon, right? But we can't demonstrate that my carbon atoms are talking to your carbon atoms, which are talking to the carbon atoms in the sun. I can't feel my carbon atoms connecting to the parking lot's carbon atoms. Now, sometimes Buddhism, as a religious tradition and meditative practice, is credited with the goal of becoming one with everything. Thus, the joke about the Dalai Lama who goes to the hot dog cart and says, "Make me one with everything." In Buddhism, there are four noble truths. The first truth is that life is suffering, and we experience that. The second truth is that suffering is caused by unfulfilled desire, attachment to things. The third, the solution to suffering is to end desire, to end your attachment to things that will inevitably die and pass and get beyond your reach. And the fourth truth is the way to get to that goal is what they call the Eightfold Path. But the ultimate goal of Buddhist practice, which shows its roots in Hindu reincarnation, is to reach the highest state of unattachment, of spiritual contemplation. It's called nirvana, which means no more reincarnation, no more attachment to the world, no more separate consciousness or existence from the rest of the universe. You are indeed one with everything by annihilating the self. They might even claim that the self itself is an illusion. There is no self. And you need to let that go to be truly one with everything. If you wanted to express it mathematically, you might say, everything is one, and you are zero. 0 plus 1 is 1. Now, what does Judaism have to say about being one with everything? Now, Judaism is a long and varied tradition, and someone somewhere has said just about everything about just about anything. There are clear differentiations from Genesis chapter 1 forward: light and dark, sky and earth, humans separate from the animal kingdom, a supernatural realm, and the natural world. Think about the structure of the Jerusalem temple with a separate courtyard for the nations of the world, and then for the Israelites, and then for the priests, and then for the high priest. There are divisions and boundaries. This is not that. It says in Genesis, be fruitful and multiply and control the earth. That implies one person's in charge and others are not. And of course, the concept of the separation of the people of Israel, the Am Segula, the nation put apart, from the rest of the world. There's a claim of a unique revelation of truths only to the Jewish people. So clearly, it's not everything for everyone or all being one. On the other hand, in Jewish life, we have a claim of common human descent from one Adam, from one human being. There's a belief historically in one God in charge of the entire universe and running all of human affairs. In fact, one of the titles for that God is Hamakom, the place, which implies every place at all times. The dispersion of the Jewish people across the globe meant that the synagogue, the house of meeting, became the place of holiness, not one place in Jerusalem, but any place that 10 Jewish men historically came together. It didn't have to be in one place, it could be any place. In medieval Jewish mysticism, there's a belief that creation began with the scattering of sparks into the world, and it was maintained with the emanation of divine powers into the world. It was not simply a simplistic supernatural commanding being pointing a finger and making things happen like in the Sistine Chapel imagery. And if divinity is emanating and into and through everything, then maybe everything is God. And we can indeed be one with everything by being connected to that. Whether you take Spinoza's naturalistic approach, that the universe is a God and we are all part of it, or an ecstatic Jewish mystical approach that's more supernatural, but nevertheless has a unifying feature. And on the other hand, there is the balloon puncturing reality of human observation and experience. You know, the skeptic's motto is, well, actually, it's the beginning of doubt. If we are one with everything, does that go beyond rainbows and kittens and also include being one with tarantulas, one with the Ebola virus, one with garbage dumps? Am I one with Nazis? People describe feeling one with everything as a positive, uplifting, nurturing experience, being carried in the arms of the cosmos, you might imagine. But I ask, is nature really on our side? Does nature really care about us? Yes, it provides sun and wind and water and soil that sustain life. But it's also trying to kill us all the time with tarantulas and viruses. The key question, can you feel connected to something that itself is not aware? I can be connected to you. But can I be connected to that? The natural world, if we believe, it's just material. It's just atoms and forces and matter without awareness or spirit or divine consciousness or sharing our moral agenda or caring what happens to us. Can we feel a one-way connection to something like that? I think the answer is yes. It's a subjective feeling. It's not a physical reality, like many things in life. And yet, I do not agree with the Buddhist idea that we need to obliterate the one to feel connected to the all. I need to be me. I enjoy being me, my own person, connecting with everything else by reaching out with my two hands and my emotions and my memories and my experiences. Perhaps I don't focus as much on me when I'm connected beyond myself. But I'm allowed to return to myself and stay connected with discrete places and certain people and deep memories. It's not all or nothing. It can be all sometimes and some things at other times. After all, this is also how we connect to the world of people. Some humanists see humanism as encompassing and absorbing everything. Nothing human is alien to me, said a Roman philosopher. But if we extend this idea, nothing and no human is beyond me. The problem with that approach is that it can flatten differences between people and peoples and their experiences and cultures. When people talk about global human music, universal music, Too often it's European classical music. It's not East Asian strings and vocals, or African rhythms and chants, or South American flutes. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 can still equal 1, if you think about it right. And at the end, this is the answer to the mystery. This is the bridge from being one with everything to humanistic Jews marking Juneteenth and Pride Month. Each of us contain many identities. Some humanistic Jews are Black and LGBTQ. Some humanistic Jews are in loving partnerships and families and friendship with Black or LGBTQ individuals of any religious or ethnic heritage. To be one with everyone does not mean erasing differences or obliterating ourselves. Being one with everyone means being ourselves, our full and complete and multifaceted and rooted and connected selves. If you took all the colors together and put them into one place, it's no color. If you allow them to be separate, it makes a rainbow. We celebrate diversity by embodying our separateness with open eyes to witness, and open ears to listen, and open ears to learn, and open hearts to feel, and open hands to help. So maybe it depends on how we say it. We are not one with everything. We are one with everything, with everyone, in sympathy and solidarity and celebration. And I want to conclude with a short passage from an essay by our Rabbi Emeritus Daniel Friedman that talks about the power of spirituality, the power of feeling connected to that broader world as a power of the human mind, and in some ways a tribute to us as people, not just to the natural world and to the interaction between the two. Whatever we behold in the natural world of flowers, mountains, and oceans, and in the human world of buildings, poetry, and morality, we who locate our spirituality entirely within the human mind may be all the more appreciative of that mind's power, aware that beauty enriches our lives, evokes the most powerful emotions, and inspires the noblest ambitions, aware, that is, that beauty causes the spirit to soar. We naturally wish to cultivate beauty and the appreciation of beauty in our lives and family and community. It is clear that absent belief in God, you are nevertheless a spiritual person, unless you have no use for music, literature, drama, or dance, unless you are oblivious to the genius of Shakespeare and Chopin and the talent of Michael Jordan, unless you are indifferent to the majesty of a mountain range or the spectacle of a starry sky. It is clear that your spirituality derives entirely from within you. It is clear that each of us imposes our notion of beauty upon mountains and upon men. That is our greatness.